Are you looking to buy a motorhome? Well, don't take another step until you see this video. Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. You know, a lot of folks come into our dealership and they either, don't know which way to turn, whether if they want to look at a Class A or a Class C or other motorhomes, or they might have a preconceived notion and come to find out after a little bit of a discussion that they were kind of looking at the wrong camper all along. So what we're kind of trying to do is give you some examples of what kind of questions an RV Matchmaker might ask you to help point you in the right direction. So first of all, well, there's several different types of Class E motorhomes available. Like right now, for instance, we're in a Class E. Depending on your needs, it looks like you have a couple of kids. Maybe you'd like to have something a little bit bigger, something with a larger overhead bunk, and perhaps some extra seat belts so people can travel and communicate while they're going down the road. Are you going to be towing another vehicle behind you in something small like the one we're in today? You may not need another vehicle, but do you really want to break camp every time you want to go out for a day trip? Now, some of the considerations we're going to do, of course, how many beds do we need? That's primary, right? And again, the reason why we ask about the length of the trip is kind of in relationship to the amount of storage you might want to bring, right? So those types of things, whether you need extra pantry space, extra space for your pots and pans, you want to bring a grill, all those things kind of factor in. So we're going to be talking to you a lot about those details. And most importantly, just to give you a breakdown a little bit more, is that Class C's do tend to have a little bit more sleeping per square foot than a Class A does. Now, there's a lot of reason why people go from a Class C to a Class A. And the reason being that the vantage point in a Class A can be a lot better than what you are in a Class C. Most traditional Class C's on a Ford or a Chevy chassis have that big overhang, and that actually obstructs some of the visibility as you're looking at street signs and highway signs going down the road. Is that a Class A, you sit above traffic a little bit so you can see down the road, and you can see if traffic is starting to tighten up and you start to see the brake lights popping on and things like that, so you can anticipate kind of an urgent slowdown, let's say. Another thing about Class C's versus Class A's is that when you're in the cockpit of a Class C, if you look out the window to your blind spot, you're going to see the edge of the camper because it kind of sticks out a little bit. The camper is a little bit wider than the van portion of the camper, and for that reason, you need to make sure you use your blind spot mirror when you're looking in your blind spot, and that's usually attached to the main mirror. And then if you get into a diesel Class A, you're going to find that the ride is substantially better because you have all air ride. It's kind of like sitting on a boat on a quiet lake early in the morning. And you're taking your turns and you're driving around. You can hardly feel any bumps going down the road. It's very quiet because the engine is all the way in the back. And with the slides closed, it's creating insulation between you, sound deadening insulation between you and the engine compartment. And it's very quiet. Now, that doesn't just happen in diesel. There's options for high-end gas Class A's to get what they call a liquid spring package, and that is going to act a lot like having an air ride, and it's actually very versatile and very handy when it comes to different driving terrains and environments. It can be very beneficial in that way. So there's a lot to consider. More importantly, what you should really consider is getting good consultation with an RV Matchmaker. Make sure to drop a comment below, and we will make sure we'll help you find the perfect RV so you can find your way.